Time now for business. Let's say hello to Yuka Royer. It's been interesting the last few days what we've seen. The U.S. Inking part one of a trade truce with China. The Senate approving a revised free trade deal with Canada and Mexico. And now you have France sort of laying the table for the next big tussle ahead of Davos when it comes to that digital tax.
Well, that's right. Well, it's been going on for a while, and it's called the GAFA tax. Now, Paris is calling on Washington to lift a threat of tariffs on French champagne, cheese, and luxury products in retaliation to France's new 3% tax on tech firms' digital services revenue. Economy Minister Bruno Le Maire wants the US to commit to an international tax proposal drawn up by the OECD. The Trump administration argues that it must have a clause making it optional for American companies. Le Maire is set to discuss the issue with his American counterpart Steven Mnuchin at next week's World Economic Forum in Davos. Fraser Jackson has more details.
Back a global tax plan on tech giants or risk countries implementing their own rules. The French government is hoping to escape the focus of the US by showing an international front towards revenue earned by top digital companies.
If the US targets France, it won't solve the basic problem, which is there must be an international taxation of digital giants and there will be a spreading of national taxes across the globe. What will they do then? Go after Austria, Spain, Italy, the United Kingdom?
The GAFA tax, so called because it focuses on taxing digital high earners such as Google, Apple, Facebook and Amazon, has become a sticking point for Franco-American relations in recent months. Last year, France applied a 3% levy on tech giants earning more than 25 million euros in the country and 750 million euros worldwide.
We want to tax American companies, Phil. That's important. We want to tax them. That's not for somebody else to tax.
US President Donald Trump said the tax unfairly targets American companies and in retaliation threatened tariffs on French goods worth $2.4 billion, including champagne, makeup and handbags. The OECD's proposal would see tax revenue from big companies shared between the countries in which those firms operate and in which they are based. Trump wants any proposal to be optional for US companies, something France and the OECD have called a non-starter. And the potential revenue distribution could be huge. Google, Apple, Facebook and Amazon frequently top the list of most valuable companies. This week, Google's parent company Alphabet became the fifth company in history to surpass a $1 trillion market valuation.
Meanwhile, in France, the transport strike and nationwide protests against the government's pension reform plans have entered their seventh week. Blockades at major ports have disrupted sea freight services, causing supply shortages at supermarkets and grocery stores in France's overseas territories and Corsica. Meanwhile, shares of some of the country's biggest retailers sank this Friday. Casino and Fnac Darty finished the week in the red after issuing profit warnings, partly because of the ongoing strike affecting sales. Let's look at the broader market picture this Friday, and European shares closed the week on a positive note following the latest economic data from China, which showed that its 2019 growth was the slowest in 29 years, but suggested that the slowdown was stabilizing. The upward momentum carrying on to Wall Street, though major indices are so far showing modest gains. Japan's economy minister insists that the government will continue to push for restarting the country's nuclear power plants following a latest legal setback. An appeals court in Hiroshima has ordered the suspension of the only operable reactor at Shikoku Electric's Ikata plant over safety concerns as it lies near a seismic fault line. The reactor has been offline for regular maintenance since December and was likely to restart within a couple of months. All of Japan's 59 nuclear reactors were shut down following the 2011 Fukushima disaster, and only a handful have come back into service. And finally from me, with air pollution causing 4.6 million deaths around the world each year, a Dutch startup has come up with a next-generation breathing mask. The company says its smart mask, which debuted at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, can detect pollutants and dust particles and give users real-time pollution alerts, and will eventually be able to choose the cleanest cycling or walking route to take. The firm hopes to make it commercial by the end of the year.
The first one we're targeting are gas pollutant sensors and also dust particulate sensors and connectivity with your cell phone. And our goal is one day to be able to deliver enough data to have a reliable pollution map. And when you want to go from A to B, you don't necessarily only go for the shortest or the fastest way, you always go for the less polluted way.
Well, it still seems to be in developmental stage there. I mean, you know, I would maybe be interested.
Depends on the price, right?
Depends on the price there.
All right, many thanks, Yuka Royer. We'll have more business news coming up later, including the closing word on Wall Street. Time for sports.
He didn't win stage 12.